One of these days we'll show you how to play the music through your your actual Zoom device instead of a speaker.
Yeah. Hey,
It it sounds worse. It sounds
uh,
worse than AM radio, but
hey, don't be cracking on AM radio now, man.
yeah.
So anyway, welcome everyone to yet another edition of Helium Hacks Happy Hour. My name is Travis. I go by TT on the Discords, and I'll be your host this evening. So I'm glad everyone uh, on this big day in helium history was able to join us. Um, it's been a lot still going on right now, so but I'm glad everyone was able to drop in here. As far as the music is concerned, yes, I did actually this past week get my OBS set up so I can both record in OBS, when doing screen shares or video playback, and can also stream that through to the Discord channel using the virtual cam. So yeah, I know what I'm doing. I just prefer not to. So is what it is. But yeah, if this is the first time on the call, I do ask that well, the format of the call to start off with is very casual. Everyone is more than welcome to unmute your microphone and jump in. If there's a topic you want to discuss, just jump in here. But if it is your first time on the call joining us, I do ask that you unmute and turn your camera on and introduce yourself to the community. So everyone kind of knows who can kind of flesh everyone out, from Discord. So with that, I will go ahead and pass the mic over to anyone who's new, if it's your first time on the call.
Hey, Travis, this is Kevin. How are you doing?
Doing well, man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I found out about you guys just the other day and registered and just got involved with Helium probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Started doing some research on it. Really like the concept. Been involved with cryptocurrency since about 2016. And we're already working on some projects to develop some equipment for the Helium network as well.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Hardware equipment that you're building up?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, very neat, man. Well, you're in the right place. That's what we like to talk about on this call. So
Awesome.
I'm very, very happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I see a lot of familiar faces. If anyone else new, going once, going twice. Okay, then we're gonna get started. Yeah, a lot's been going on this week. We don't have a real full agenda for tonight. Something that I had mentioned last week towards the end of the call was about having a show and tell. And I think next week is when I'd kind of like to have a short form show and tell where everyone, picks up, 5-7 minutes and just goes over a project that they're working on, or kind of that they're dreaming up that they want to work on, that they can kind of talk us through what what they have in mind on getting this up on the Helium network. And so, or if you have a couple projects, nothing's stopping you from presenting a couple. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think anyone else would. The one thing we did discuss last week, and I have touched base with you since then, or a number of you, about the new console 2.0 that Dal was talking about last week. And this is on staging. And so if you've had an opportunity to get an account over on staging, and now you can't have the same devices up on both production and staging. You have to pull it down off one in order to onboard on the other. But a lot of new functionality got rolled out onto staging. A lot of that has to do with flows and how they are now more tightly integrated into the console workflow. And so what we are doing, and I guess this has been announced on the blog, but if you want to kind of tell your experience with working with the 2.0 console and some of the new features, what you like, what you found to be advantageous to your development process, just on the show, man. If you want to talk about that, it puts you. I think we've got swag to give away. We've got developer kits. I'm always talking about these things, but anyone who has one, they're very cool. It's a great way to get started developing on the Helium network, and especially if you're wanting to take something through to production, and it has the quality to actually withstand field use. So yeah, we'll be giving those away. What else? We've got some things to tear apart if we want to do that. We've kind of been putting that off because we've been busy with other things recently. Today, I guess everyone knows validators are going live, like right now, are in the process of getting those up. So it's a very exciting times. Hopefully this will be able to resolve a lot of the the problems that we've kind of seen on the chain recently, and
Hey,
kind of get back.
Travis.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, Travis. About that, like the validators are up. My understanding is some of the functionality that they do will then be turned off in the hotspot in the gateways, correct? Do you know, is that staged, or is it like when the validator's up, like immediately like the hotspots might be running better, or is that like going to be a whole stage thing? Do you know?
Well, when you say is it staged, this is something that Professor actually addressed last week as well. Yes, it is going to roll out in, I believe, 3 tiers, but it will be happening fast. It'll be
Okay.
happening quickly, and you will be able to see, see results of that in short order. So yeah, we've been, everyone has kind of been in the situation room over at Helium, kind of watching the rollout progress. So it's very, very exciting times. I guess everyone understands that we're also we're cleaning the vendor rooms off of the Discord server, and that will be going into effect shortly. I know that there's, some people don't understand the decision or why that was made, but it was made. It's been made. It's in the past now. So just understand it, the reasoning behind it. It was well thought out. It was well discussed, and I believe it's a good move forward for all the vendors to be maintaining their own support channels for their products, rather than everything being piled into the Helium Discord. So there will still be an announcements, a read-only announcements channel for vendor announcements that you can always check on status there. And so there will be, a source of news, but it won't be just the madhouse, two-way street, with a bunch of monkeys running around like it has been for quite some time. So yeah. That's news on my side of things. Joey, I know you've been working a lot with the new mapping project, and I was hoping that maybe we could get an update on the status of that tonight, man.
Yeah, I sure have been doing a lot over there. My laptop battery just crawled down to like 1%, so I'll verbally give an update. If somebody else maybe wants to screen share on mappers.helium.com, I can kind of explain what's going on there.
Yeah.
But so for anyone who hasn't been following, we've kind of done a visual refresh as sort of a new layer on top of a totally reworked data set there. And just a couple of minutes ago, we just added in the calculations. So for each uplink, you can see the computed distance between the hotspot and where the mapper was at the time. So if you jump into the map, you can sort of click on any of these hexes, and it'll give you the full list of uplinks that have sort of given the coverage for that hex. And then we can sort of see a mileage breakdown there. And I promise I'll get in there and make a nice little conversion for metric units too, instead of just the freedom units there. But yeah, that sort of rounds out the core vision for what that info pane was going to be in this version. There's a couple more features that I think we'll probably try to sneak into this version. But then beyond that, it's just collecting as much feedback as humanly possible on like what folks are excited about seeing in this tool, and then starting to work towards a V3 release, which I sort of envision to be a much more verbose analysis tool.
Very cool, man.
And it's very fun to go poke around and just like see where the coverage is. Yeah, and it's still updating in real time, which is working super well. My next feature will probably just be a really rudimentary auto follow. So it'll pin you to the center of the map for your device. I wrote a spec for that over the weekend that I am kind of happy with. So I'll try to flesh that out as some UI.
And
Joey-
so when you say it's live here, is there any mechanism that kind of lets me know the data is being shoved in live, other than like diffing, I guess, the data sources?
Yeah, there's no like hook, if that's kind of what you'd be looking for. Not that I have seen. There may be something hidden in there, but yeah, that's probably something that could be done with this data, especially since we have the live updating push of that data coming through. And I was joking with somebody in the Mappers channel that it would be fun to have like the Quake hit noise or something every time a hex got filled or your mapper got heard. You'd see this little dink. So there's a lot of fun stuff that we could sort of hack into this, and it's all open source, so anyone could honestly start going and hacking on it. This is the Mappers GitHub project in the Helium repos.
And the ingest point just got changed, right? Or is it changing with validators going full live, or is that not? Like, is it in flux right now?
Yeah, so this is actually completely isolated from validators. This is effectively a network use case, the way it's implemented. So it's really same as any end device. And then, yes, the endpoint did change, and we're trying to do a hard cutover. We sort of have mapped out today as the cutoff point. So if you're running a mapper, it's probably good to go review those things. We've been helping folks in the Mappers channel just make sure that their devices are all working well. So if anyone has any questions on that, the Mappers channel is a good place to jump in.
Joey, when you said live, does that mean it's no longer like that every 8 hours is when it, so almost real time, essentially. Hit a button and very shortly after it might show up on Mappers?
Yeah, like within seconds. I was out hiking around the other day and just watching the hexes pop in as I sort of made my way through. And then even more fun is that seconds count, the time the last hex was updated starts ticking up in seconds, moments after it shows up, just because it's a reactive thing.
So you don't have to use cargo anymore to kind of like see if you're really getting hits. You can just use Mappers now to see if you're getting hits, correct?
You kind of can, yeah. So I think cargo is still a really good tool because you can still subscribe to a specific device, whereas there's no like device following in this version.
Okay.
And so cargo gives you that nice blue line where you can see where your device was and all that. That's not really going to appear in Mappers. That may be something that it's hard to say how this is going to evolve. I have my own sort of vision for it, but I can't say that that's the thing that we're going to build. I would like to build a phone native app that sort of takes the place of cargo and then has a connection to that mapping device. So you sort of get that two-way communication.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that pans out.
I got a question for you. And so if, I know this is something that we've discussed in the past, but about some type of authentication, authorization component that would allow me to integrate with like maybe a CMS system, or where I can have different users and each user would be auto-tracked, according to who they're logged in on, via their phone and the associated linked device. Is that something that is going to be a part of this, or is that something that could be? Because this is all Postgres. PostgreSQL is where the data dump is.
Yep.
And so if I wanted to hook that into like an existing content management system that I'm running, like whatever flavor you're running, and I wanted to make calls against this data source, is that something I can do via the API and then do the I guess user components on my end, or is this something
Yeah, I don't know if I quite have the answers to those questions. The database is definitely Postgres, but as far as it being available as an API, I'm not quite sure how much of that is going to sort of end up being available. A lot of it's not built, so it's not to say that it won't be done, but it's going to probably take somebody jumping in and authoring that stuff up. The device UUID and the coordinates and all that stuff do get stored, but we don't store as fine-grained detail as what is currently available in like Cargo, where you see every single dot, or if really just focused on those hexes. I think I'd have to look at the database again. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so to give a high level, I generally approach this project in sort of 3 buckets. One, the first bucket is this mapping one, and I want to build a very bespoke software around that mapping experience. What we're seeing in mappers right now is the analysis bucket, where it's like, I've got all this data and I want to better understand how the network is deployed, or sort of where the holes are, things like that. And then the third bucket is much more of the like, what's the customer facing experience look like? What does this look like if it integrates into Explorer, things like that? What's the more presentational experience for mappers? And so, you know, we've taken this turn on the second bucket. I would like to, from here, sort of build the roadmap for what that second bucket could look like in the sort of near to long term. And then move over to the sort of mapping experience side of it, if hopefully very soon.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I was playing around a little bit, I guess this past weekend, with some mapping code over on AWS, some Lambda code or serverless code that, you know, we had talked about some of the gamification ideas, you know, or we've talked about those for forever, I guess. But was kind of getting some of those realized where you could at least play around with them with oysters or with mappers, and get like distance between different points. And you know, by the very nature of that, you kind of need to have user logins. And I know we use Auth0 on Helium's end on our systems, but didn't know if mappers had you know, a vision for that side of things.
Yeah. As far as, I mean, I'm really, I think, mostly interested in moving off the web app and more into a mobile app, because it offers a couple of features that I think better enable that experience. You know, running in the background, for instance, if you want that app still, you know, communicating and you have ways open to move around. And then when we start to think about that, like, you actually drop your reliance a little bit on an actual like username and password, because you can start to do things just purely on device, or tied to an Apple ID or a Google account, things like that. So I think it can become like a pretty seamless experience that you open this app, pair it with a device, it, you know, onboards it to the network for you, and you're off to the races mapping without, you know, dealing with functions and things like that.
Sure. I like the way AWS Cognito handles that. I mean, it allows you to use, I guess, you know, entities like Google to authenticate, or my own private like pools. You know, if I want to go against you know, user tables, but can also
That's
use what federated identities, I believe is the term.
Okay.
That you can use, and so that allows you to really make it simple and have flexibility in the workflow for your auth. But
I'll have to dig into that more. If that's the solution, that'd be great, because being able to not home roll stuff is just a big time saver all around. So
I'm a big fan of Cognito, and it's come a long way. When I initially started working with it, was in the context of the Amazon Voice, the Alexa devices. And I actually, and they said you shouldn't be able to do this, but you can get an OAuth authorization using VoicePrint. And so you could, I mean, effectively get that authorization and log into a bank using your voice over. I mean, I would not recommend doing this, but I did a little proof of concept there. But it's a very flexible system there. That's what I was doing on that screenshot I posted.
I saw that.
That's managing it's just using DynamoDB, and that's how it's doing the row-based, you know, tying that to the users.
Yeah, I'm excited to start exploring that stuff more. So I'll probably have a lot of questions on Cognito for you.
Oh, I gotta, yeah, just shoot them my way, man. I did
Cool.
get a lot of those little OLED screens in the mail. So the ones that my big hands just keep shattering. And so,
You'll get one out of 6 of those. Right?
yeah, I know. Knock on wood, but I know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Are you building some mappers? Are you gonna try and get a couple more out there?
Yeah, I figured I would. What I was doing actually, I've got some of the oysters over here, and I was going through and just stripping those down to the board, and then just sealing them, or
Mhm.
weather sealing them. And so I don't really have to have a completely weatherproof case, and I'm just trying to slim things down on a couple of those. But I've got one of the cases that you designed, for the
Mhm.
T-beams, and I'm printing a couple of them out for a community member, and I'll have those mailed out here in a day or so.
Awesome.
But
Who's on order?
oh yeah, good question. I don't recall. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
Travis, you're printing some cases for myself.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, awesome.
This little dude.
Yeah. And you're going to be in the States, you said, just for a window here, right?
Yes, I leave for the US end of next week. Not this. End of next week, the 15th or 16th, I think.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was printing on. I don't know if anyone has seen these, but these are. I don't have the device in here, but these are something called motes. And these are just kind of cut out so you can hit the pins for testing. And this is kind of like a field test device. This allows me to. It's got a little screen, and I can send different packets. But what's neat, and the reason, if you could see, it kind of has the cutout of the LoRa, behind it, which is just where it's kind of inset on the back. And I really do like that, where it's completely flat on the front. And then whenever a light comes on, or an LED comes on behind it, you can see that, kind of illuminated better. Anyway, I've been playing around with Fusion 360 a lot more recently, so trying to pick up some of those techniques to where you can do case locking and snap fits and all of that good stuff. So I'm
It's a
probably gonna
deep
have a lot
rabbit
of
hole.
questions for you, Joy. So
Okay, we'll do some pairing. Yeah, I like I might actually put a little Helium logo as the inset. I like that. I don't usually like when something's protruding or embossed on like the actual physical front surface, but what
Yeah.
you had there, that looks pretty clean.
Yeah. What else? I printed.
Hey, Travis,
yeah. What's up, man?
Amazon Alexa. What was your objective? What were you trying to do with the Amazon Alexa?
I'm actually an Alexa champion over at Amazon. So and I actually run the Alexa developer community on Slack over there, and the Google Home voice developer Slacks. I did a whole lot of voice development stuff. I don't know, over the years, both in home automation. And man, with home automation, that was one of my favorite use cases, is just to have like my critical emails being read to me, when I'm taking a quick shower, just with a Marine speaker. And yeah, I mean, it was convenient, And another thing is, and this is, I absolutely love this, and any smart home that I design or implement at my house is going to have this. And depending upon time of day and what lighting conditions you have in the house, when you walk through the house, it'll follow you and fade up, low lighting to about 20%, and then so you don't have to hit switches. And so if I want to walk into the kitchen at night, I could just get up and just walk, and it just kind of follows me with lighting, and then turns it out behind me. I used to have a spiral staircase in my house, and it was cool, where it would light it when you're going down, and you didn't have to mess with turning all the room lights on, if other people are sleeping or whatnot. But I think that's just it's such a simple feature,
Have you done anything like taking any of your sensors that are in your house and having, when an alert goes off, having Alexa tell you the living room just hit 80 degrees?
You can. And you got to be careful. Some of that gets really annoying. but I mean, I have it set so I have what I guess read sensors on my front and back doors, and that will be announced over Alexa. Or someone's at the front door. If someone rings it, or if someone's at the back door, if there's motion. So yeah, I've got motion read sensors and then buttons that interface. And then and you can command some things as well that also go into have some LoRaWAN, because I've got my garage is removed from the house, and so I use sensors out there, and some controls out there, for monitoring and whatnot, and those feed into the system as well. It's not hard to do at all. I mean, because Helium has like a native MQTT integration. And so, I mean, if you just want to throw that onto a broker, it couldn't be easier to integrate with pretty much anything. Everything speaks MQTT. So it's very easy using that to, hook it into whatever.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. And what you could do, I mean, if you want to, you can run, you can run it on just a little Raspberry Pi Zero W, and have all your, it's cloud-based voice recognition, just like Alexa is. But you can do that. You can do the Google Home. In fact, I've got a lot of kits over here, and I'm sure you've seen them, just a Google voice, kits that you build around a Pi Zero W. I've got several of those kits that come with like the colored arcade buttons where you hit it and you can talk to it. I've got a whole lot of TI launchpad devices. I've got some of those kits with with all the Grove sensors. I think it's the Seed Grove IoT kits. I've got a lot of those to give away. That actually Hackster.io. I told some of you this. They were cleaning out a warehouse a while back, and they had to get rid of all this stuff. And they're like, just call Travis. And so I've just got a huge box. I think it's like a 75-pound box of all sorts of boards, kits with a bunch of just like Molex cables, LEDs, buttons, just kind of basic like electronic type stuff. But it's, everyone uses those cables all the time. So if breadboards, headers, if anyone needs like just kind of a getting started, yanking around with hardware stuff, let me know, and I'll shoot one of those over to you.
Is not maybe a spare packet for the in that box? So my challenge that I have is I have five or six devices, but no connection to Helium because I don't have a hotspot near me, and obviously I'm still waiting for my hotspot. So that's why I was asking.
Waiting for the hotspot. Yeah, that's I hear that time and again. That people are doing that. Mike, I've got some on that subject. I've got some good news, man. Gateway RS, you can easily run that on prod.
Cool.
I thought you'd be happy there.
Thank you.
So, and that's not an official thing, but yeah. And Gateway RS, if anyone hasn't or familiarized themselves with this, it's slick. It's open source. It's on our repos over on GitHub. WAC Helium, and then Gateway-RS. And it's you're not going to earn HNT. It's not going to mine, but it will act as a packet forwarder. You can, and there's a roadmap, I guess, on these devices where in the future, certain elements of this may be able to mine for data forwarding. But if you don't look at it from that perspective, if you look at it just from hey, this allows me to interact with the Helium network and work on developing sensors and developing end nodes, then yeah, it's great. I've been using those Draginos. What are they? LSN8? Is that what they're?
LPS8.
LPS8. Yeah, LPS8. Thank you. And they're slick little devices. So.
Yeah, but they are very hard to get as well.
Yeah.
Sold everywhere.
Yeah, I know Robot Shop got a pretty big shipment in a while back.
No, sold out.
Oh, already? Okay. I know I got some over here at Helium, and so if and they're kind of earmarked for helium use, and so if you're looking for them and need them for a project, hit me up and let's talk. So I should have a decent supply of them over here. So
The Discord community helped me find one 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. Just by chance, I mentioned it, and somebody looked and said, "Hey, this place has got it," so I ordered it.
nice. No, that's cool. They're great little devices, and
oh, sorry, interject real quick. The Mappers project will not show coverage from those just because they don't have an asserted location.
Yet. Yeah.
Yet.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Emphasis on yet, but unfortunately, so far, that's how it's going.
Yeah, very true. But okay. So you do get the data. You're just not. You're just dropping it. Is that?
We drop it. Yeah. So at point of ingest, we reject it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because the migration there was like La Paz, Mexico. It was like I think one of the guys from the rack community had nicely mapped that whole area. It was this nice, perfect gradient of distance from his hotspot. But yeah, hopefully they can assert their hotspot in the future and then remap that area.
Or you may have to go down to Mexico and remap it, man.
That actually seems more reasonable. For a little more context around that, the reason we did that is it was sort of the easiest means to get rid of all those like horizontal and vertical lines that kept showing up in mappers. And we basically just put a hard limit, is saying if your mapper is 500 miles or more away from the hotspot, just assume that that's not true. And that actually got rid of a lot of that noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because people don't actually check their data before they submit it, so we had to filter it.
But if I wanted to, I've got an asserted mobile hotspot over here, and so if I just threw that in the bed of my truck and took off with a mapper, then that's going to pass your rules, right?
Yep. It's also not really great coverage because it's super temporary, so we don't really want that on mappers anyway.
No, what I was asking is because if that gateway goes away from where it is asserted, are you going by the assertion?
The assertion
location, or okay?
Yeah. So once you drive 500 miles away, they'll stop.
So it wouldn't matter.
Up.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, Joey. I didn't know if it were possible, maybe down the line or something, but maybe like a redundancy feature for mappers that could maybe highlight a hexagon that has run into max density or something like that. So then it would let you know, like, hey, this one's got, five or one additional more hotspots within this hexagon. So, we wouldn't really need to be adding more into this one. You could just look and it could like run the simulation, just highlight those hexagons on the map that's, I guess, run into max density. So you can, for not wanting to add more in that area, maybe, I don't know if that could be a feature that could be added or not. We can use like the numbers from like maybe Helium Vision, those numbers, and then just correlate it to the HIP 17 chart.
Right. So have you seen the hex space density layer on the Beta Explorer?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking for something that would be kind of a hybrid between the coverage, the mappers coverage, and then that hex space. We should talk about it in the mappers channel. More details.
I don't want to get super detailed, but I didn't know that maybe like as a redundancy feature that could be added. I mean, it'd probably be better in maybe one of the other ones, but I was like, well, what else could we use mappers for instead of making like Helium Vision or another app just more intense? How else could we add to this? That's what I was kind of just thinking. That's all.
Yeah. No, that's good. Something somebody brought up earlier today has had a lot of good feedback in the mappers channel, but was the idea to sort of signal inside of the mappers tool when that hex space density has changed, which would sort of indicate that area like maybe needs to be remapped because the understanding of the network is different there now. That was something I hadn't thought of before, so it's cool to see that. But yeah, let's chat, either community chat or in the Mappers channel. We get a little more detail out of that. Anyway, I didn't mean to segue too much from the Dragino LPS8 conversation. Just wanted to call out that the assertions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how things evolve over time. I think that certain milestones on that project kind of run into 22. So we'll see. Yeah. So what else is going on?
Sounds like validators are running. The ETL is stuck, so we're not seeing stats yet. But
yeah.
You're actually running on validators.
So a question about the folks who were messing with those WIO LoRaWAN field test devices. Have you had a chance to get any further on those, the ones that Paul designed?
No, not yet. I got distracted with wanting to set up my ground antenna, and I think we were talking about earlier about the impedance analyzer. So I started that, and that brought me down a huge rabbit hole. I haven't gotten out of it yet. So, but the WIO terminal is really awesome. That's what, I don't know if anyone wasn't sure what Travis was talking about, but this is what it looks like. The WIO terminal, and you have little growth. It's hard to see with the light, but it's little growth connectors. And another thing that you can get too, which is pretty cool, you can get like this little growth connector beginner's kit, and it has like all different sensors on here you can just connect to with the connectors, and just like really test out. And I would recommend for anyone that's like starting out or brand new to check this out. And you can learn. It's fairly user friendly. You just plug it into the WIO terminal, start up the Arduino IDE, and upload that code, and you're bang boom ready to go. So I thought that was really cool. I like that as well. There's so many awesome devices within the IoT realm. It's like at least for myself, I go down rabbit holes really quickly. And I'm like, shoot, I need to go back to that other thing I was working on before I started learning about this as well. But yeah, I would definitely recommend anyone to check that out.
That's called shiny objects.
This is and of course it's green, so you're not going to be able to see this at all. But you can kind of see the writing on it. But this is the on the black. Yeah, okay. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. And all the inside is green. Look at this box. How's that for you?
An invisibility club.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Let me see if I can open this. Okay, so that's not so green, but yeah, this is that Grove stuff as well. Just sensors, and then you have these rather standard cables that connect all of the Grove system together. And now some of them are going to be like maybe UART, some may be I2C, which are chainable. Some are, there's different ways that you can interface the sensors, but through a common, cable with terminators on the end. This is that just kind of, random kit of, cables and I don't know, some servos, some, motors, LEDs and stuff. I mean, just kind of resistors. I mean, nothing special, but if you need something, to kind of get going, I guess more on the analog side of things. I've got a whole lot of those over here. Yeah, well, I don't know. This is something I don't know if anyone wants to mess with things on this level, but this is one of the Edisons, which Intel made. Here, some breadboards, some what buttons, resistors, but this is based around, and then you have a little breakout. And the one thing, and why I wanted to pull this out, is the kit that they use here, or one of the connectors, is actually compatible with the WizBlock and the Helium developer kit. One of the interface modules allows you to, it's the Quick, I believe is what it's called, connector, and that system, you can interface with it. It's the one that has the Grove, the Quick, and what the MikroTik Click Connect, I think is what it is. And these are those voice kits, just the the Raspberry Pi Zero, Google voice kits. If anyone wants any of that stuff, let me know and I'll mail it out. But oh, here I've got a kit. I can show you what I'm talking about here. Let's see. Yeah, that little connector right there on the end is what works with those sensors. And then these two beige ones on the top, those are the Grove connectors that work with what he was showing and what I was showing in the box on visibility.
We may have to travel to Houston one weekend and have a hackathon there with all of your spare parts from Hackster and see who can put together the most interesting project.
I think that's a pretty damn good idea, Leroy. I think that's a pretty damn good idea. I actually was speaking with someone the other day about running kind of a hackathon workshop thing at University of Texas, Dallas. Coming up at some point, yeah.
Well, that'd be cool. Just don't do it in the next 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah, no, I think it's going to take some planning, to get everything together. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I used to run a lot of hackathons and a lot of events here, locally in the greater Houston area.
Well, keep me updated on that. Yeah. I'm like a couple miles from the UTD.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop. Very cool. Yeah, it's with the Department of Engineering out there, and they wanted it to be kind of a blockchain and IoT course, or kind of a workshop course. And so, yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun doing that. And I think they're gonna, have it be open to the public as well. So.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. Not always, but sometimes.
I don't think they really have the format of it locked down at this point. So I think there is some flexibility there. But apparently for the courses, they break off into groups and stay with those groups for the whole semester. And then, work on kind of larger projects there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So one of our members sent me some of these guys to tear down. And oh, there's green again. Yeah. But we'll use this one. Has anyone played with these guys? They're called Gotennas, and this is, I guess, a newer model of them. It allows me to use a cell phone. I can tether this to my cell phone and use this as a long range, not like LoRaWAN, but more like it gives you a mesh based long range ISM banded communications device with mapping with GPS. And so they targeted these at what hikers, outdoor enthusiasts, where you may not have cell coverage, but you still can use your cell phone as the interface, right? For texting or showing your coordinates on a map. It's mesh based. And so, if I have someone here, and here, then if I can't reach from here to here due to distance, then it will mesh through and relay the messages through to the whole group. And so yeah, these were sent out so we could take these apart, and I've held off. I haven't taken them apart yet. I wanted to kind of do that on the show, and tonight may not be the best time for it, but I did want to bring this up. The way that these are put together, it's what is it called? Like micro welding for plastic, or sonic welding, I guess. And so pretty much when you break it open, it's opened up. I mean, it doesn't snap back together and click back together. And so it is kind of a semi-destructive form of opening the case up.
Hey, Travis.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. Have you tried to look up the FCC ID for that device before you open it up?
Yeah, I use the FCC, what's that simple site, that shortcut site. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the site that he's talking about, actually, there's a shortcut site, and you can, on the URL, enter the code that has to be accompanying any radio type device, and you just tack that. What is the code? Do you know the URL offhand?
FCCID.io.
There you go, man. A very cool little site, and then you just put IO and then /, and then for example, here's the one for the oysters, and so let me paste this in so you can take a look at what this gives you. It's a pretty cool site and gives you all of the documents that have to be filed on a particular device, and it has all the different revisions, all the different documents. But yeah, if you can remember the URL, which I would have had to probably swing and miss a couple times before I got it, but fccid.io, and then you just enter that code, and it takes you to all of the documents you want, and it's going to have all of the photographs that accompanied the the test reports. So let's see here. Yeah, so there's
all of the documents that are not proprietary. So if the FCC was told that this document is proprietary, they would keep it. They would not publish it. So it's not gonna publish something that's someone's intellectual property.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the test documents are going to be here.
Yeah, internal photos and stuff like this. The stuff that you need for troubleshooting and
Yeah. Sometimes even just to get a picture of the boards, because whenever you go through for like FCC certification, it's very common for manufacturers to put like an extra, like a UFL or a small connector on the board right near the antenna breakout, where and then you'll have like a little 0 ohm that you can swap between that jack, or for a test jack, and an external antenna. And a lot of times you'll see those, and a lot of times you'll see like what serial ports, or left onto a production board, and being able to see kind of the layout before you have something all jacked apart is very, very helpful. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. This site's great, man. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Nothing, just doing projects and trying to stay on the company payroll.
Yeah, we've been talking about getting things back together in person, so I'm kind of excited about that. So.
You mean for the monthly Hackster thing?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm now kind of getting back into touch with a lot of folks, as things are kind of opening back up, and, just trying to see where things stand. Some people have changed jobs, some people have, moved around. So trying to, figure out who's where, and, really what's going on. I need to talk to Jordan over at HCC, with that new setup over there, and see how, what he's up to, how things are going over there. So sorry, we're talking Houston stuff here, but yeah, it's something that, through the Helium Insider program, I really wanted to kind of, mirror some of the local stuff that we've done, over the past few years. And I think having a local community, I know there was, I think, a Houston like mini meetup recently here, and I've heard about a number. I think Dallas has one that's going on. A number of local meetups, kind of based around Helium, are starting up now. So, if that's something I'd definitely like to hear about. If you're running one of these, or you're thinking about it, hit me up, let me know, and maybe I can help you out with some things. Getting organized on it.
Actually, yeah. Hey T. So that's something I wanted to do in the state of Maryland, in my location. I wanted to like meet others that and explain Helium. So any advice or tips of how to kind of go about that and be social and talk and maybe set one of these events up or whatever, if you have any recommendations, I definitely would like to hear that for sure. And I don't know, like, I don't know, do you assume people are coming already with the knowledge, or are you assuming everyone is brand new to these events? And like, are you looking to teach or train people, or is it more just like, are you just like setting this up so you guys can just chat about what you've been working on and kind of bounce ideas off of each other?
I mean, it depends. That's really up to the organizer, how you want to do that. If you want to have more of a structured, like workshop type event, I think you have to assume that you're going to get a full range of knowledge there. You're going to get people who just wandered in and they don't even know what the event is about, and then you're going to have people who have been working, with this for, 30 years doing ham radio. And I mean, and they've been building antennas. They know their stuff. And so, I think with any like open to the public event, you're going to get that range, and which I think is great though, and you get a lot of people, kind of helping one another out. But I mean, you can run hackathons if you want, like a all weekend, like a 2-day all weekend thing. Those are a lot of fun, but it's, sometimes it's just you get some sponsors who will buy like beer and cokes and pizza and give you stickers and shirts to hand out to people, and that kind of gets their name out a little bit. It helps the local community. Pizza places love to do stuff like that, and local breweries, they typically never have a problem. And then just publicize it, like use meetup.com, Hackster.io, and a lot of people will just kind of stumble in on it looking for something to do in a town. Sometimes we get a lot of people who just moved to town, and they're like, yeah, I was just looking through and meet up and saw this and sounded crazy. I didn't know what the hell you guys are up to. So figured to, check it out. And some of those people have been coming for years now, so it takes all types really for groups like this, but I've always had a lot of fun running groups like this.
Helium has been kind of interesting from the point of view of you get a couple of different communities. You get those interested in the cryptocurrency and the earnings and the hotspot deployments in that angle, but you also have the sensor developers angle, and which I fall into that category myself, and not so much on the other side. So if you're going to have a meetup, you might benefit to try and determine who you're going to target. I know we have a meetup group that started here a couple months ago in Dallas. I have not gotten there yet, but it seems to be more oriented toward the cryptocurrency. Here's how you can earn more cryptocurrency with your hotspots, etc.
Gotcha.
So you might kind of keep that in mind as who is your audience, because you kind of have two audiences with Helium,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings up a good point. One thing you can do is, there's going to be other groups, I guarantee there's crypto groups, around. And if you can like kind of arrange to crosstalk at those groups. And so, you have them come over and talk, in depth about, something that you may not be SMEs about, and then just offer to do the same and speak over in their group if it's something that they're interested in. And that tends to work out very well, and it doesn't just completely bore someone who is interested maybe in IoT, but their primary, they really want to concern themselves with the crypto aspect of it. And so that allows them to, have access to an SME on this aspect, but not every week or every time they meet up. They can still concentrate on what they really enjoy. So.
Travis, that's kind of my agenda too. I'm on the other side of the cryptocurrency side, the earning side, and I'm trying to immerse myself more on the development side because I'm working on some projects, with engineers that are developing the projects, and I'm kind of leading them with ideas, and we're collaborating on things. So, like for Simon, again, I think that was a good point from the other gentleman where he said, know your audience. But there's a good video if you're going to go toward the cryptocurrency side. You can just Google, what is Helium? Glad you asked. There's a video that Helium put out. It's a little quirky 3-minute video that your grandmother would understand what helium is and what the network is and why it's important, and what you're trying to achieve by connecting all these hotspots around the world. So
yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. I learned yesterday, actually. I met up with a community member, and he told me that there's a gentleman who has an entire MIT course that he taught on cryptocurrency that is available, in its entirety online.
Yeah, I attended that. It was a very, very good course, actually.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I was gonna check that out. I've done a lot of the MIT, their courseware stuff over there, and it's been, very, top notch.
Do you guys know? Do you know the name of the gentleman that did it?
Not offhand. I sure don't. I'd have to.
I'll pull it up real quick. Let me.
Okay,
I
cool,
have
man.
it saved.
Nice. Thanks, man. What, if you don't mind me asking, what are you developing on, or what architecture, or what dev boards, or what are you using?
I would defer to our engineering team. What we did was we started down the path of just initially trying to source. Our background is in crypto mining for Bitcoin. It's a company called Mining Store, JP Barrick. But okay. I met him years ago when I first started trying to learn about cryptocurrency, and now he's running a huge mining operation here in the States. But they were looking to expand their portfolio of products, and I came across the Helium project as well as a couple other that I brought to them. It's a whole different group of sales points that we can go after. Obviously, price points, knowledge base. So there's some commonalities where they can expand their brand. He's got a huge following on TikTok, so he wanted to see if he could monetize, some of the efforts they have doing managed mining and bring it over to the Helium network. So we started to work with an engineering firm, out of Asia that's very, seasoned veterans, with LoRaWAN, and so they're well connected with the manufacturers, and there's a lot of manufacturers over there that are making sensors, but they're looking to diversify their portfolio of products because they're getting beaten down on price and Me Too products. So there was a lot of conversation. So we decided to try and put our ideas together. We looked at a bunch of products that the engineering firm had made, and found out, they really seem to have a good knowledge base and be able to help us, develop a product that's going to be scalable and have functions and features in it that are going to differentiate it and make it a little bit more robust. Mainly, a lot of it had to do with antenna, because we noticed, a lot of the teardowns that we did, they had great, engineering on the inside of the box, and they lost a lot of, of that engineering through the antenna they paired it with, for instance, Bobcat. So we're looking at a lot of those options and see if we can't make something that's going to be a little bit more user-friendly out of the box, have a little bit of more functionality and scalable with especially frequencies on DBI.
Interesting.
Awesome. Yeah. So the MIT courseware, it's Professor Gary Gensler, Gensler, Gensler. If I'm mispronouncing your last name, I am so sorry, but thank you. The course is really great. If you happen to watch this video or anything, Professor, but yeah, really great course with the MIT.
Thank you, son. Appreciate that.
Cool.
No, but I did want to make another recommendation for anyone. I'm sorry. I like to rep people. Look, if you in the sensor development channel, I think was Leroy, maybe. I'm not too sure exactly who made a pinned message, but they're for anyone that's brand new to sensor development and you're looking to, wanting to become a network user, wanting to set up a sensor and do some coding, but you just have no idea where to start or what videos to watch and who's reputable. The video, it's actually, I'll put it in the chat here. I'm not too sure if we can do the links, but this video here is a 4-hour course on sensor development. It's a really great intensive course. It'll go through everything from start to finish.
Yeah, I did not have the what's the word, ambition to watch all 4 hours. That's good. Glad it was good, useful.
Well, and also make sure you kind of along those same lines. Make sure you go to the docs.helium.com and check out the documentation that Leroy put up about the WizBlocks and the Helium Developer Kit and with the cube cells, and both for Arduino IDE and for Platformio. That's really the best guide out there as far as getting the WizBlock up on the Helium network. And I would absolutely recommend reading through that. And you've also been doing a lot of work recently on debugging. And can you bring us up to speed on how things are going there?
It's been interesting. The WizBlock uses its underlying operating system is an RTOS and real-time operating system, basically, as opposed to bare metal Superloop that we see typically with Arduino. And that's been something that's been on my radar for the last couple of years. So it was interesting when I discovered that that's what WizBlock is doing. They create multiple tasks, much like threads in desktop programming. So I've been playing around with that, and I had a bunch of ST boards that I was using ST-Link as my debugger with Platformio, but I think I fried a couple of those. So anyway, I ended up ordering a J-Link, and J-Link, Seger, who creates J-Link, they have this product called System View. And with System View, it's kind of like there's a company called Percepio that has a product as well. But anyway, what it will do, it'll give you a visual picture of your tasks that are running. The WizBlock by default, the way Rack and the underlying Adafruit runs, you have maybe 5, 6 different tasks created. There's a idle task that runs when nothing else is going on. There's a couple of tasks that run for, it looks like USB support. Rack fires up a task to handle radio, the LoRaWAN radio interrupts in code. And I've created my own task for my little sensor stuff. So anyway, with the Seger product, you can visualize how long each of those tasks take to run. It's a priority-based, preemptive RTOS. Okay, again, kind of like what your desktop does. It gives a task a certain amount of time to run. When that time's up, a scheduler runs, stops that task, starts up the next task that's available to be executed. So it's been an interesting walk down that path. And one of these days I can probably talk with Travis and put together a little show and tell with it if anybody's interested.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I cannot do it in the next 3 weeks. I'm going to be out of town.
Oh, I got you.
So it'll have to be later than that. So it's been interesting. I posted a few things out to Discord out there. And if anybody's interested in going down that rabbit hole, feel free to holler.
Very
That
cool.
sounds like it's right up. That sounds like it's up Simon's alley or rabbit hole.
Shiny object.
Oh,
Hey,
I
Leroy,
just love filling this knowledge account of mine as much as I possibly can.
Soak it up, man. Soak it up.
Yeah, and make sure to check the pins out on these channels, like sensor dev, like mapping. Good quality info tends to make it into the pins, either by the mods or someone in the channel. So that's really a good place to kind of start looking, and get pointed in the right direction. Because I know we have a lot of channels on Discord, and it's for newcomers it can be a little overwhelming. Just to know how everything is organized, but once you're around for a bit, you kind of get in the groove on where to look for things.
Yeah,
so.
but there's only really 3 important channels: sensor dev, console, and mappers. That's it. All the others is you can just forget them.
Hey Leroy, how is the learning curve for the RTOS? I tried to learn it before, and it was challenging working with Zephyr, and I didn't really find the need to learn it unless if you need interrupts or you need something that's actually real time. It's really unnecessary. What do you think?
Well, that's probably true. Again, from my point of view, like I said, I like shiny objects. I come from the desktop world. I did a lot of work with threads in my previous life, threaded programming. So the RTOS kind of falls right in there with the tasks. The project that I'm kind of working with uses another framework that talks a different radio frequency. So my concern was if I put it in a super loop and this other framework takes too long, well, maybe I'm going to miss my receive window in my LoRa transmission. So, I've got a little bit of a real-time requirement there. Not enough to where I totally understand it, of course, but something to play with. There are a number of courses, some YouTube courses out there that walk through the entire RTOS fundamentals. My pinned message out there talks a little bit about Udemy and lynda.com. Udemy, there's a guy that I referenced in that pinned message again that does a really good job of explaining the RTOS. But if you don't have any real-time requirement, if the super loop is doing it for you, then if you're not thrilled by that kind of thing, then you probably don't need it. There's some videos out there that talks about do you need an RTOS? That might be the place to start, is search for, do I need an RTOS? If you don't need an RTOS and you're not comfortable with it, then you're right. It's probably more bother than it's worth. You can probably get yourself into some really interesting conditions if you've got two pieces of code that I really need part A to run to completion before part B does its thing. Then you got to be careful with RTOSes.
You got to do a lot of thinking and like interrupt. You cannot call another interrupt from within interrupt. It's just you don't want to get yourself. While I was looking for the reason to use RTOS, I ran into a video that shows that you can download the OpenOCD and then reprogram the NRF 52840, and then you can use MicroPython, and that's the easiest
Okay.
part of me. So I just went with that.
Yeah. MicroPython, I'm staying away from that shiny object just because I got too many already. Don't want to go there, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see, maybe a presentation on MicroPython and how it applies to sensor development in Helium. Because that's an area I've not done anything with at all.
And like Circuit Python, I know Adafruit pushes that pretty hard.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been kind of filming, working on some videos, kind of based on your documentation, Leroy. Just to, I guess, as an initial walkthrough, just where people can get to a point where they can build out just a tracker with the WizBlock with the screen on it, right? So I've been like I said, going against your docs, but trying to get some of this on film where it's digestible. But a lot of people message me and they say, well, I don't like to read. I'm like, well, I don't know really too much to tell you, on that, because you're going to end up doing a lot of reading, but
I just wait for the movie.
You just
tell them send cash. That always works.
But I think it is important, to have at least like general overviews, where you can kind of watch and decide if you want to, I guess, invest yourself further.
Yeah, the videos, I mean, aren't that bad. I get the whole not liking to read thing. Some people are like really great at visual learning and stuff, or just watching people actually do it and pick it up and get it done. Maybe it's not like maybe may not like to read, but it may not process as easier as watching someone actually doing it. So kind of like that over the shoulder view, I think is really beneficial to accommodate also like video, documentations and things like that.
Yeah, and that's why I like in-person events, where you actually, get together and, can, kind of show things off and show, different techniques. And I really do enjoy that. But, hopefully we'll be getting back to that soon. There's that word again. Yeah. I meant to ask you, did you get the firmware for your Glamos?
No, I've been waiting for that.
he announced it this morning in Sensor Dev, man, and said,
did he?
No, in his channel, and said, hey, if anyone wants to test, hit me up. And I'm like,
yeah, because I sent him a message the other day because he asked me to take a look at the Walker app again one more time without the VPN, but unfortunately, it didn't. It wasn't working. So maybe it's because of the update, or I don't know if they're so.
And so, yeah, I figured you would have been hitting them up, first thing this morning.
I wanted to, but then because after we had talked about it, or you mentioned it, I everything in my bone was like, man, go message him. But I was like, maybe hold on, let me just be a little bit respectful first because he didn't say anything about it yet. So let me just wait.
Yeah, he mentioned it in channel.
But so now that you mentioned it, I'm getting all over it now. The 2.0 testing and stuff like that, how's that been going with you and everything? I heard that they announced, I guess they officially announced, like, looking for testers and on stuff like that. So I don't know if you want to maybe bring that up or talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we chatted about it. Well, I guess I mentioned something earlier in the call about it, but yeah, if anyone else wants to check out the new console 2.0, grab an account, go over on our staging server and create an account, and make sure your devices are discrete. And so if you need to pull it off of prod if you're going to put it onto staging, and vice versa. But we have the whole new, like, flows has come a long way. And I've actually been spending quite a bit of time, using the flows. But yeah, if you want to be a part of this testing, I mean, we've got boards, and we've got swag, and we've got giveaways that we'd love to hook you up with if you want to give like a quick presentation here on Hacks, just about what you think about console. Give me some feedback, shoot a little video, just short on what you like about the new console 2.0. And I reached out, I guess, personally to a few of you over this past week, and I know several of you contacted me right before Hacks, and they're like, hey, remember that thing I told you I was gonna do? Yeah. So I may not be able to do that this week. So I understand that. I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot, but if you do have an opportunity, shoot a quick video, even if you can't make Hacks, and I'll make sure that it gets up and try to get some stuff out your direction. So
yeah, awesome. I'll make sure to add some recording next time I'm doing my feedbacks, and while I'm going through it, just we were like, when I had originally added the LPS8 to it, and I was just like, why is this not working? What's going on? And realized, like, oh shoot, I need to deactivate it on console production before I go ahead and do that. So yeah, you don't have to actually remove it. I don't think so. You can just deactivate it, right? You don't need to actually remove it or delete it. But
I think I don't know.
Should you? I mean, does the flows get in the way?
The definitive answer from Helium is it needs to be completely removed. I've done it both ways, and so I'm not saying it. I don't know. That's Helium's position. It needs to be completely removed from one before onboarded to the other.
Okay. All right. Well, that was my first initial thought, but and then someone else's contact let me know. It's like, oh wait, you can deactivate that too. So I haven't deleted it yet. I'm gonna test it out with the deactivation first, and then And then I'm going to test it again too, deleting it and see if there's any differences and stuff. And I'll try to make sure to make a note of that.
All right. Let's see. It's we're about an hour and a half in, so I guess probably need to start talking about wrapping up and closing thoughts. I've been talking the whole time, so I'll kind of give up the floor this time.
I just wanted to say hi real quick. I've been meeting here from the makerspace I help run in Raleigh, and just getting a few people in the area just together for the kind of helium interest thing. And we were working while you were doing this. I was trying to help them set up a mapping device, just the HealthTech cube cell. And
Nice.
Now we're just looking at some scripts that I've written for reporting with the helium blockchain. But yeah, it's just kind of a meetup thing. I just wanted to say hi. As I think maybe somebody, I've been kind of popping in and I didn't want to just keep doing that without explaining.
No, that's great, man. I was wondering what the context was over there. No, that's great. What's the name of the makerspace you're at?
It's Splatspace, splatspace.org. Website is very unimpressive. But yeah.
Well, it's not about the website, is it?
No, and usually I can't even I wanted to chime in earlier, but I couldn't because someone was here using the laser cutter and it was just so loud because it's a Glowforge.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool, man. No, it's great to hear that you're having in-person meetups and about helium. If there's anything that Helium or myself can do to help you guys out, let me know. Even if it's just send you some helium stickers or something, some swag.
I actually ordered some of those, but yeah.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. No, it's great to have people involved in the community outreach aspect of the Helium network. And make sure to tell them about the documentation and Discord. I think a lot of people don't necessarily have their eyes on the docs, or their the discoverability is a little low there. But it's something a lot of time has gone into them, and so they've got a lot of answers there. So
definitely,
yeah, cool. Well, yeah, it's great to have everyone over there with us tonight, and welcome to the Helium community. All right. Well, with that, I guess I'm going to shut this down. Thank all of you for joining us today. And next week, keep in mind, I want to do a show and tell. So get something together, folks. And it could just be something quick. But let's see how many projects we can show and tell about next week. And I think it should be a lot of fun. I don't know. I figure we can come up. I figure we can at least get a solid 10. Don't you guys think? I think we can get 10.
Yeah.
We'll get it going.
Yeah. I think we can get it.
Right.
Come on, everybody. Show off what you're doing.
Hey, Travis, you want to make that more interesting?
Oh, you want to put some HNT on it?
Just
I will. I'll donate 1 HNT to the winner or
well,
whatever.
actually, I was looking,
the most liked.
I was looking for hotspots.
Oh yeah. You and everyone else, man. Yeah.
I was gonna say, get in line.
I know we can definitely. I mean, I know you have one of these kits, and I know a lot of you do.
One.
But yeah, I'll definitely we can give away some dev kits, and I don't know, maybe we can work a Dragino gateway in there. I'll see what we can do. I'll come up with some prizes. All right.
Is Travis, is anybody in your group looking for hotspots?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's kind of our forte. We, Syncrobit just got their FCC approval this week. We actually have a direct channel to get those units. We've been promised, potential of getting about 15,000 units.
Oh, okay.
So we're also negotiating with them as orders are being canceled in the system to be able to step in and get those orders, because there's a lot of shifting going on in the marketplace.
Okay.
Our next meeting, I believe, is on Tuesday with the team over there, and I could have an update next week. And we're supposed to get clarity on delivery dates. They're ramping up, and they initially told us, let's start looking at the end of this month, beginning of next month, for some initial orders. And in the meantime, they're gonna see how many they can get for us. So I'll give you guys, we have a short list, obviously, internally for people on our team. But if I've got additional, I'm happy to bring them to the group. And, obviously they'd be for sale, but
Oh, no, of course.
make it
No,
work.
no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. That's huge because, and especially with this group, I think more so than a lot of the other parts of the community, like what Leroy is saying, we do have kind of different groups, but I think especially, those on this call are really interested in the IoT aspect and the sensor development and in the end node and the use of the network. And so,
Sure.
no, that's great. And I appreciate that. And just feel free to hit me up on Discord as well if you have any questions. So
You got it. Thanks, guys.
That's great, man. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight. And with that, folks, next week, show and tell, same bat time, same bat channel. And I will see you then. Have a safe week. Adios,
All right,
folks.
everyone, have a
Thanks,
good
everybody.
one.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Have a great
Cheers.
one, guys. Bye.
Cheers.